Ever wonder what happens when the world's most unpredictable politician meets the world's most unpredictable currency? Tick. Another headline, another promise. Trump, Bitcoin, and a $1 trillion market waiting to see who blinks first. Because right now, quietly, behind all the cheering and memes, a policy storm is brewing that could completely change what holding Bitcoin even means in America. And if you think it won't ripple out to your portfolio sitting halfway across the globe, think again. This story starts not on Wall Street, but in Washington, where Bitcoin has finally become too big to ignore. After years of calling crypto a scam, Trump now says Bitcoin is the future of American money. But every time a president says something like that, a lot of people make money, and a lot more lose it. Let's rewind a bit. Back in 2017, Bitcoin exploded past $20,000. The establishment laughed, then panicked. The government worried about money laundering. The Federal Reserve saw a threat to the dollar's dominance. Then came 2020. The pandemic hit. The money printer went brrr. Bitcoin touched $69,000 by 2021. The narrative was born. Bitcoin is digital gold. But here's the uncomfortable part. Gold may glitter, but only central banks control the vaults. Bitcoin? Anyone can mine, trade, and move it, until someone decides to make that harder. Now, Donald Trump's second administration is promising to do exactly that. Not kill Bitcoin, but own its future. He calls it strategic digital sovereignty. Sounds powerful, right? But in plain language, it means this. The US government wants a formal hand in how Bitcoin operates inside its borders. Why should you care? Because when the world's largest financial empire starts rewriting the rules, it doesn't just change prices, it changes the game. Right now, under Trump's proposed economic blueprint, there are 3 massive policy shifts being drafted. First, regulatory consolidation. Instead of multiple regulators, SEC, CFTC, Treasury, fighting for control, the plan is to centralize crypto oversight under a new federal digital asset authority. It's sold as simplification, but simplification often comes with power, lots of it. Imagine one office deciding which exchanges are American enough to survive. One signature and your favorite platform could go dark overnight. Second, taxation reform for long-term holders. Trump wants to make the US a Bitcoin haven, but only for patriots, as the documents put it. That means incentives for miners and investors inside the US, and potential penalties or trade barriers for offshore holdings. So, if you're a foreign Bitcoin user or you use US platforms, you're still in that blast radius. Third, reserve integration. The most radical piece yet. Advisors have floated a proposal to include Bitcoin in America's strategic reserve, alongside gold and oil. That sounds bullish, sure, but think about what that implies. If Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset, the state instantly has motivation to control its price, not free it. For most Bitcoin holders, this feels like the ultimate paradox. Freedom money, now being adopted by the very system it was designed to escape. And that's where the tension lies. Trump's team claims they're bringing stability and legitimacy, but every trader knows what that really means. Regulation brings walls, walls bring friction, and friction kills momentum. Still, let's pause, because it's not all doom. Some parts of Trump's crypto policy could strengthen Bitcoin's long-term case. Institutional clarity might boost ETF expansion. Mining subsidies in US states could attract massive data center investment. Strategic reserves could psychologically anchor Bitcoin as real money instead of speculative tech. But, and it's a massive but, Once governments have a stake, true decentralization becomes mythology. Because the moment Washington decides to protect Bitcoin, it can also decide when to freeze it, limit it, tax it, or even replace it with a sovereign-backed token. The math of power always wins. You see, this isn't just an American issue. Every major economy is watching how Trump handles Bitcoin. If the US frames Bitcoin inside its own regulatory box, Europe, India, and China will race to do the same. Within 5 years, what you call Bitcoin might be split, not one global coin, but regional versions, each with invisible borders and government fingerprints all over them. That's not theory, that's trajectory. And for holders who dream of Bitcoin at $500,000, the question isn't if, it's under whose rules. Now, you might be thinking, regulation was inevitable. True. But Trump's version isn't normal regulation. It's nationalist monetarism, using Bitcoin not as rebellion, but as weaponized finance. To outcompete China's digital yuan, to undermine the euro, to strengthen the petrodollar with a new crypto-dollar alliance. Sounds like a spy thriller, but it's already moving. Earlier drafts of a crypto economic security bill leaked last month suggest incentives for Bitcoin miners who relocate to red states, specifically Texas, Wyoming, and Florida, forming what insiders are already calling the digital oil belt. And behind closed doors, energy companies are whispering one phrase: Bitcoin energy nationalism. The plan? Link Bitcoin mining with American fossil energy, turning miners into a new kind of energy consumer protected by federal subsidy. That's not neutrality, that's strategy. But let's zoom out and do some uncomfortable math. If Bitcoin mining subsidies rise by even 15% across those states, the national hash rate becomes geopolitically American. And when one country holds control of hash rate, Bitcoin isn't a global people's money anymore. It's a national asset wearing freedom's costume. Ironic, right? The same system that called crypto dangerous could now domesticate it in the name of patriotism. Now, I want to stop here for a second, because this is where the story gets deeply personal for every Bitcoin holder watching. Are you ready, truly ready, for Bitcoin to grow up into a government-controlled asset? Or did you buy it to escape that very thing? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think Trump's Bitcoin policies will strengthen or strangle the crypto dream? I'm reading every argument myself because this debate is going to define the next decade of digital money. And if you want to stay ahead of these policy moves before they hit your portfolio, subscribe now. Because the next few months won't just be about price pumps, they'll be about power shifts. All right, let's keep going. There's another side to this, the markets themselves. Wall Street doesn't fear regulation, it loves predictability. Once Trump makes the rules, institutional money won't hesitate. Pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, corporate treasuries, all waiting for a go signal. So in the short term, that could actually send Bitcoin soaring past its old highs. But here's the irony again. What the revolutionaries built for autonomy, the corporations will claim for profit. And that brings us to the quiet part of this policy conversation, the digital dollar. Every administration talks about innovation. Few admit the real goal. The digital dollar isn't about convenience, it's about data. Every transaction trackable, every wallet identifiable, every deviation punishable. So the Bitcoin-friendly rhetoric acts like a mask, while the infrastructure beneath blends free crypto with state surveillance. Think about it. Once the US holds Bitcoin reserves and demands KYC-level tracking, anonymity evaporates. The blockchain stays open, but privacy dies quietly in a beige office with fluorescent lighting and patriotic wallpaper. Still, for investors, this presents both danger and opportunity. If Trump's plan boosts short-term legitimacy, global demand may spike. But long-term? The moment governments tether Bitcoin value to national strategy, volatility turns into weaponry. Bitcoin could become the next geopolitical lever, like oil in the 1970s or chips in the 2020s. So what do you, as an investor, do? Diversify your mindset. Don't just hold Bitcoin. Understand who's holding your freedom. Because each administration, Democrat or Republican, will reframe this story. In the name of security, in the name of growth, in the name of the flag. The question is, can Bitcoin survive being loved by the state? That's what no one wants to answer yet. History says every free system bends when power embraces it. Gold did. Oil did. Even the internet did. Maybe Bitcoin will too. Or maybe, just maybe, it will find a way to stay bigger than the hands trying to hold it. Until then, watch the laws, not the tweets. Because this time, the real market mover isn't hype, it's policy. And that policy has Trump's fingerprints all over it. See you soon, guys. Bye.